morning, everybody. So glad you're excited to think about how you can implement the SDGs and the Paris Agreement. Well, as those of you that know us know that Bioregional, we're a very practical organisation, and we work on creating sustainable communities, products and services, and really working towards how we can all set things up so we can live happy, healthy lives within the natural limits of our one planet. And we call that one planet living. And we always leverage what we do to change policy and practice, so that practical experience that we have, that you all have, bringing that to the policymakers to affect and change the policy agenda, and also to inspire the industry with what we can do. And so that really led us to take a strategic decision, and actually it was quite an expensive decision, to become involved in the UN Sustainable Development process. It was 20 years after the Rio conference, and so there was this Rio +20 process. And I want to encourage you all that the fantastic thing about the UN is everyone has a voice, and you can go and get involved if you want to. And fantastic organisations like Stakeholder Forum can facilitate you into that process, and more latterly UKSSD, which I'll tell you about in a moment. So we took our It Can Be Done practical projects and experience and our One Planet Living framework and 10 principles to kind of inspire the diplomats at the UN that it can be done. And we just kind of got involved in this very collegiate process, really, and we started working with Paula, who is the woman behind the Sustainable Development Goals. So I just want to say, well done, Paula. And many people don't know that, but I think one of the things about the UN is you just have to kind of subsume into this big collegiate team, and I guess that's what ecobuild is about too, that we're all a big team in our different roles delivering on the Sustainable Development Agenda. So at Bioregional, we were the NGO focal point for sustainable consumption and production, and we managed to actually get a goal and things embedded, working with the government on this. So in 2015, as you heard Paula say, the whole world agreed to take action, and obviously these are commitments governments made, but they're also goals for every one of us, every person on the planet. And it gives us all a mandate, because the government signed up to Paris, so the whole world has to go zero carbon by 2050, and in more developed countries like the UK, obviously we need to take a lead. So as you heard from Paula, there's a real urgency to this, but it gives us a mandate when we're talking to decision makers. Goal 11, Sustainable Cities, is really about SDGs and sustainability in its broadest sense. But there are other goals, like Goal 10, reduced inequalities within and between countries, which really resonate. What we found is really resonates with people. So there's the kind of the eco agenda, but there's also this very holistic. You can see the goals here. You know, they're very holistic and need to be taken as a set as well. So it's fair to say that the UK government has been a bit slow off the mark, despite the efforts of Joan and Jack and many other politicians like Caroline Spellman, who really championed the SDGs. But of course, at the moment, the government's got quite a lot on its mind. Although the SDGs could actually paint a very nice picture for a post-Brexit future. So we wanted to create a space for action, and in 2016, with WWF UK and the Stakeholder Forum, we co-founded UK Stakeholders for Sustainable Development. And UK Stakeholders for Sustainable Development is now a flourishing cross-sector network of 85 partner organisations, with over 900 organisations in the wider network. And we're all working together to drive action on the SDGs. There have been a number of initiatives. Last year, we were just highlighting that the SDGs are good for business, and so a letter went to the Prime Minister with many huge companies and organisations signing on to that. And this year, the focus is for a national plan for the SDGs, an assessment of how the UK is performing on the goals and the recommended actions, and making recommendations for action. So there are 17 organisations, one for each goal, leading that research. And you can take a look and review these findings and add expertise to help shape this. So currently over 140 organisations have registered, and the review ends on the 16th of March. And then this will be launched at the UK Parliament in July this year, and also at the United Nations High-Level Political Forum, where the nations of the world get together to review progress on the SDGs. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that and get involved in this process. Just thinking about what can we do, what do we need to do, really just thinking about it helps you to think, what can I do? So with that in mind, practically, there is a lot that the built environment sector can do, as you heard Paula say. There are 17 goals, 169 targets. Some organisations take a single goal. So, for example, Tesco have taken food waste, which is goal 12.3, or target 12.3, as something they're going to really focus on, whereas Siemens have taken sustainable cities as something to run with. Whereas Rockwool have looked at how the SDGs affect their whole business as a set, looking at the whole 17. So at Bioregional, we always aim to be helpful. And so we're running a Sustainable Development Goals stand, which is D98, just outside, a couple of rows along. And you can come and find out more about the SDGs. You can find out about UK stakeholders for sustainable development. And if you're keen, you can make a pledge on your commitments to help deliver Paris and the SDGs. And we're running 2 workshops today to get started at 12:45 and 2 p.m. in the business district. And one of the great things about ecobuild is that the Sustainable Development Goals, the Paris Agreement, have framed and shaped the agenda for ecobuild. And every conference session like this is going to draw out 3 recommendations for the sector and 1 recommendation of what the government can do to help. And then in the final conference session on Thursday at 3 o'clock, we'll be pulling that together, combined with the pledges that have been made. And the organisers are going to compile that into a report which you'll be able to access. And in next year's ecobuild, we can have a look at it and see how we did. So I'm going to start the pledging process by saying that, as you may know, Bioregional has actually going back into doing our own developments, not just helping other people to do them. In the UK, especially in the southeast, and we're going to apply the SDGs to our upcoming development projects. And we're also going to publish a report at the end of March sharing our top tips for the sector, which you can sign on and download. So all of this promises to make ecobuild this year very applied and fun. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this session and maybe at our stand. And I guess I'll just finish by saying, you heard from Paula the urgency of it all. It can be a bit discouraging, the external picture, but I think, we just got to man, woman up and get to it, because this is a really urgent job, and we all know it can be done. Thank you.